What's up, guys? Welcome to our video of our top 10 small forwards in the NBA heading into the 2021-2022 season. So like past videos, we each will list our top 10 lists and discuss why we think the top 10 guys we have on our list deserve to be there. So let's start with you. Do you have any honorable mentions for small forwards?
Yeah, I have two.
Okay.
TJ Warren, who missed the entire season.
Okay.
I feel like coming back and playing, he can rise up this list, but
Yep.
I left him off, and I think that's fair to do so.
Yeah.
And then I have young Anthony Edwards, who will definitely find his way onto this list.
Okay.
Just not quite yet for me.
Yeah.
What about you?
I have actually three honorable mentions, none of which you have mentioned here.
Yeah.
Norman Powell falls on my list here. I think Norm is an exceptional talent at small forward. The guys I have ahead of him, though, have a little more poise than he would. It'll be interesting to see what he does. In all likelihood, he'll have to be either the guy. He'll have to be the guy if Dame Lillard leaves Portland.
Yeah, and then you would expect CJ to follow.
Yeah. So we'll see what he does when he has to be the primary scoring option here.
Yep.
Tim Hardaway Jr. I have on here. He's really been the number 2 scoring option for Luka Doncic in Dallas.
Yeah.
I think at times he was the only other guy that would show up in the playoffs for Dallas there. An exceptional scorer, good 3-point shooter. I think he deserves to be mentioned, but just not in the top 10.
Yeah.
And then Bojan Bogdanovic.
Okay.
Pretty much the same reasons for Tim Hardaway. Maybe he really is he's not as consistent. I think consistency is the problem with him. But a lot of nights he is the second option scoring behind Donovan Mitchell.
Yep.
Mike Conley and Rudy Gobert are obviously, I think, better than him.
Yeah.
In Utah, he's definitely the 4th overall option, but scoring-wise, great shooter. Really has a knack for scoring. So I thought he deserved to be mentioned here.
Okay, cool. Let's get into it. At 10, I have Michael Porter Jr.,
Okay.
who continues to step up, and he may continue to rise.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how much more we'll see from him, but even here, solid all-around play. He's been a number 2 option in Denver, number 2 when Jamal Murray's out.
Yeah.
And a good number 3 option.
Yeah.
So that's why I have at 10. What about you?
I have Gordon Hayward at 10.
Okay.
And I think what's holding Gordon Hayward back, because before I think very highly of Gordon Hayward when he's on the floor, and I think he's been injured a lot more often since he left Utah. But you saw what happened with Charlotte when he was not playing in that play-in game.
Yeah.
He really is a huge presence, at least on the offensive end for Charlotte. He's a guy that helps LaMelo Ball facilitate in terms of assists. Definitely a guy. He really is their primary scoring option when he's there.
Yeah.
And they do look a little lost. He's a great glue guy. And Gordon Hayward has the potential to challenge for the top 5 when he's fully healthy.
Yeah.
If he's going to get there again, I don't think
fair.
he will be. I think if he faces injury problems next year, he's probably going to fall off my top 10 list. But I think he still deserves to be there. I think he still deserves another shot because he's that good of a player.
Yeah, if it wasn't for this season, I don't think he'd be on either of our lists, right? Because of the injuries. At 9, I have Jeremy Grant.
I also have Jeremy Grant at 9.
Nice. He's been really good in Detroit.
Yeah.
Maybe he's not a first option on a contending team.
Yeah.
But in Detroit, he's working well. Why do you have him at 9?
Same reasons there. He really came into his own once he was able to be the guy in Detroit. And it'll be interesting to see how he develops his game and if he's given a larger role eventually.
Yeah.
Because unless Detroit gets better, I can't see Jeremy Grant staying there long term. So Jeremy Grant's still young. There's still a lot of opportunity for him to play for a contender.
Yep.
And I think building up this role is going to be great for him. And I think his game can only be elevated when you add good playmaking guys like Cade Cunningham.
Yeah.
So Jeremy Grant, I think, definitely deserves to be on this list after the season he had last year.
Oh, definitely. At 8, I have Brandon Ingram.
Okay.
Most improved candidate a couple seasons ago, and moving to New Orleans has really benefited his game.
Yeah.
Just his all-around play as a scorer. Again, looking like a light version of Kevin Durant, a good second option for Zion, and I think he'll continue to improve. I'm not sure how much higher he can rise on this list, but that's about where I'd have him at 8. Who do you have at 8?
At 8, I have Andrew Wiggins.
Oh, okay.
And I think Andrew Wiggins gets a bad rap because has he lived up to the number 1 overall pick?
Not yet.
Probably not.
And probably won't.
And he probably won't. He's in his prime now. But Andrew Wiggins has been a steady scorer, and a lot of people don't notice that.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't help that he was playing on Minnesota, where Minnesota themselves are a team that is not heavily looked into.
No.
Then he goes to Golden State, and he's playing behind names like Steph Curry. He's playing behind names like Klay Thompson for a bit there. He's playing behind names like Draymond Green. But he really came into his own when Kelly Oubre Jr. underperformed.
Yeah.
He really had to be that second option.
Yep.
Once Klay Thompson went down, and now that Draymond Green, his game kind of altered to be more of a playmaker. He was really the second scoring option behind Steph Curry.
Yep.
And he's done it year in and year out. He's always been up there in terms of scoring and in terms of points per game. So I thought he deserved to be on this list.
Yep. Totally fair. At 7, I have Gordon Hayward.
Okay.
For all the reasons you mentioned, it's his play and his talent.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, injuries can take him off this list, but
Yep.
considering his play this season, he's just phenomenal talent. Who do you have at 7?
At number 7 is where I have Brandon Ingram.
Okay.
I think he's really making the Lakers regret
Yes.
not giving up Kuzma
Yeah.
instead of him.
See, you made me nervous the way you reacted to my answer. I thought he shouldn't have been on this list because you were so stoic.
No. I was just trying to kind of
Okay.
hold my cards close
Okay,
there.
okay.
No, Brandon Ingram certainly deserves to be on this list.
Okay, I feel a lot better about my pick then.
Before Zion, he was the guy in
Yeah.
New Orleans. He is the number 2 behind Zion there. I thought they really had a nice big 3 going there.
With
When
Lonzo.
Lonzo Ball was there,
Yeah.
obviously he's gone now.
Yep.
We'll see how Devontae Graham replaces him because, again, that's another guy I could see stepping up.
Yeah.
But, again, he is the number 2 option behind Zion Williamson in terms of scoring. He
Yep.
could be a better scorer than him on some nights just because Zion does play both sides of the ball very
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
But, yeah, certainly deserves to be on the top 10
Yep.
small forwards list.
Definitely. At 6, I have DeMar DeRozan.
I also have DeMar DeRozan at 6.
He's been a little overlooked since going to San Antonio.
Yeah.
Just because they haven't had those deep runs. But
Right.
as a play-in team, you saw he still has it. He still can be one of
Oh,
your
yeah, for sure.
top 1 or 2 players, depending on how your team's built.
One of the biggest all-star snubs this year.
Yeah. Great offensive threat. And I don't know what else to say. What do you have for him?
Yeah, like you said before, with San Antonio, they haven't gone on those deep runs. I think Toronto didn't go on enough deep runs to necessarily consider a lot of his past playoff success to put him in top 5 conversations
Yeah.
here, because I think the guys ahead of him have had that sustained playoff success at least recently. So
Each of them, yeah.
So I think DeMar DeRozan is certainly a guy that could compete for the top 5, and I almost considered him in my top 5, but number
For me,
6 I think is
You can have him as high as 5.
yeah. I don't think he can go much higher than that,
Yeah.
but he certainly could crack the top 5, and maybe he will in what should be a better environment for him in Chicago, a more
Yeah.
competitive environment. So
Yep.
we'll see, but he has been
And it's going to be a
steady.
similar situation as Toronto, except they're deeper and, in my opinion, more experienced than
Yeah.
those Toronto teams. They're more rounded. So
Yeah.
we'll definitely, hopefully, see more of DeMar DeRozan. At 5, it sounds like we have the same guy, Chris Middleton.
Yep.
The offense, and he really stepped up these playoffs. He made a name for himself, and
Yeah.
maybe had it not been for these playoffs, this is where DeMar would have been. But Chris Middleton's just a phenomenal talent, and you saw it. He offensively could be your number 1 option.
Yeah. Up until this past season, I had been very critical of Chris Middleton. I didn't know if he necessarily fit the mold of a big 3.
Yeah.
But, I mean, this season and then this playoffs really sealed the deal for me. He's an elite shooter.
It's the consistency that could bring him up this list. If he
Yeah.
consistently scores at the rate we know he can,
Yeah,
he could be top 3 potentially.
100%.
At 4, I have Jimmy Butler.
I also have Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, Jimmy Butler, great 2-way player.
Yeah.
And not the guy he was in the finals, in that finals run
Yeah.
in Miami. I think that was a little high for him.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he'll get back to that. He could. And that's what kind of drops him out of the top 3 for now.
Yeah. I think in terms of this list, he's probably the best defensive small forward. Maybe there may be a couple guys that you could make the argument that he's the best defensive small forward in the game, or at least, yeah, I would make the argument. I don't think he's the best two-way guy, but I think in terms of defense, he can. I think it's the fact that he's so versatile in guarding multiple spots as well.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
He may not be oversized, but he certainly can guard oversized guys because he is crafty in terms of steals. So
they got 2 wins against the Lakers in that
Yeah.
playoff run, and that was with him guarding LeBron. So
yeah,
goes to show what he can do defensively and obviously offensively.
Yeah.
At 3, I have Jason Tatum.
I also have Jason Tatum.
50 points against Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Got him the 1 win. Boston had no business getting any wins. The only player that showed up. And as they've lost players from that deep core they've had, he's been a staple and he's only improved since.
Exactly.
So if this team can improve, he could be a huge star in this league, one of the best. He's the best, or one of the best young stars right now.
Yeah.
Kind of, he paved the way for guys like Zion,
Yeah.
guys like Ja, and all these young guys you see thriving now. He was the first to do it in this generation.
Exactly.
Why do you have him at 3?
Same reasons there, and I think I want to put him higher, but I think this
Not
year
yet.
wasn't the best year. I think he could have made the argument to jump higher.
If he had a better team, definitely.
If he had a better team, it didn't help with COVID. He got COVID this year. He missed some time, and I think that kind of messed with his consistency. It wasn't the greatest of seasons for him this year, but I think Jason Tatum, we have not come close to seeing the best of him, and that's a scary thought considering he does have the ability to put up 50-point nights multiple times a year. So especially in playoff games too, like you mentioned, that Brooklyn series.
Yeah, and this was a healthy-ish Brooklyn team.
Yeah.
At 2, I have Kawhi Leonard.
I also have Kawhi Leonard.
And this is who I think is the best defensive small forward right now, at least.
Yeah.
With age, obviously, and injuries, he may not be as relevant on the defensive side, but he showed what he could do in Toronto. In LA, you would have wanted to see more, but injuries obviously stopped that.
Yeah.
With him being out for this entire season, who knows what he's going to be when he comes back.
Yeah.
But with the resume he's given, he's quietly been one of the best players, at times the best player in the NBA.
Yeah.
Why do you have him at 2?
Same reasons there. I really wanted to have him at 1, but I think it's just the consistent injuries, the load management. The load management is something, especially after this torn ACL. He's supposed to miss the entire year. That's never gonna. I think that'll kind of cap him at being number 1. I think he'll always be second fiddle, whether it's to the guy that we have at number 1 or whether it's Jason Tatum, who's younger and I think could overtake them.
Yeah.
I think injuries are going to hold him back. Load management's going to hold him back.
Yeah.
But in terms of skill, I think you could very well argue that he's the most skilled player in terms of small forwards on this list. So that I have him at 2 just because of injuries and load management.
Yep, and at number 1, we both sound to have LeBron, or seem to have LeBron.
And you could make the load management argument with LeBron too, as I wanted to put Kawhi 1, but you also saw how he fills a role when Anthony Davis is gone and how he steps up and how the team, in terms of the playoffs, they struggled when he's not fully healthy, and they did that. He was really, you knew he was playing maybe at 80% max in that series against the Suns this year. And it showed. It showed that a healthy LeBron is, and they were close. They won the first 2 games with him at 80%. But a fully healthy LeBron, you can't stop that. He's quick. No. He's oversized. He can guard multiple positions. He can play multiple positions. You could even consider LeBron as a point guard, as he's a guy that can run the offense as well. Yeah. So what are your reasons for having him at 1?
LeBron, when healthy, his team has made it to the finals in every year. The only 2 years he hasn't would have been this year and his first year in LA when he dealt with injuries. A fantastic all-around talent, and I want to say he still has it. I'm not sure if we've seen the decline yet, because this season was an injury-riddled season for him and Anthony Davis. So we'll definitely see next year what he's made of, and if he still has it, if he can still carry teams to the finals.
Yeah.
But as of now, in comparison to the guys on this list, I think he's easily number one.
Yeah. So with that, that'll do it for our top 10 small forwards list video. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like the video, give it a like down below. Subscribe so you don't miss any of our other uploads. Comment down below what you think of our top 10 lists and who you would have in your top 10 small forward lists. And with that, we'll see you in the next video. Peace.